So you want to start modifying your Tacoma in 2024. I'm going to walk you through 5 key things you should do before modifying your Tacoma. Let's hop into this. Now the first thing you're going to want to do, and this is the most critical step in this process and has nothing to do with the truck, is get a notebook. Now, you're probably thinking, why do I need a notebook? Well, to write down your goals and your dreams. What do you plan on doing with this truck? Now that you've got your notebook in your hand, let's go ahead and start with writing down what your truck is. Is it a TRD Pro, a TRD Off-Road, Sport, SR? Write it down at the top so we know what our starting point is. Do you have a 6-foot bed or a 5-foot bed? These are all important for when you're picking out your mods for your truck. Then moving down on your notebook, go ahead and write down your goals. Are you just planning to use the truck to go back and forth to work? Are you planning on going out on weekend camping trips? Are you going to be hauling kayaks or mountain bikes? Are you going to be doing 100 across desert trails? These are all important to write down so you know what kind of mods you need on your truck. The next step in this process is going to be identify your budget. That way you know what you're willing to spend on your truck. This can be pretty expensive to get into. You may look at this and be like, oh, there's like $5,000 in mods on this truck behind me, but I'm here to assure you there's a lot more than that, and it stacks up very quickly. So just have realistic expectations, write your budget down on what you want to spend, and you'll probably end up spending $5 grand more than what you want to spend on it, depending financially how you're set or how irresponsible you are. Because if you're like me, you're just like, I want this, I want that, I don't care, throw it on the truck. But the budget will also help you if you want cool things. Maybe you can find them for cheaper on Marketplace like I did. A lot of the stuff you see on this truck, I was able to find used. My wheels, for example, I bought a week after I got the truck because I found an awesome deal on Facebook Marketplace for $900 and I went and snagged it up. I saved almost $1,000 doing that. So definitely if you identify your budget and you want to spend less and you stick to it, you'll be able to find some good deals out there. People selling stuff they don't want anymore because this hobby, I think people get in and out of. So that is number 2, identify your budget. Now there is an old saying that goes something like, buy once, cry once. I'm sure you've heard this down in the forums if you've already been looking into modifying your Tacoma. Now, learn from my mistakes. I'm a guy who's always looking for a deal, as I mentioned on the Facebook Marketplace thing. I'm always looking to save money, and sometimes to a fault. Sometimes cheaper isn't better, and in most cases, it's usually not. So, for example, if you're building your truck out to be an overland rig, like I was building my truck out to be an overland rig, I found a set of Bilstein 5100s on Facebook Marketplace for a couple $100. I think I had $500 without the leaf packs. So pretty good entry level suspension, but that's exactly what it is, entry level. So I could have saved that $500 and continued to save up and not wasted my time by putting that suspension on this truck, because later, about a year, maybe 9 months later, I'd say, not even a year, 9 months later, I upgraded to the Dobson MRR suspension. And it was a lot more expensive. But if I would have just went ahead and bought that or saved up for it, because obviously I didn't have the money at the time, or I wouldn't have bought $500 suspension, if I would have just saved up for it, I would have only had to buy it once, and I would have only had to cry once. But instead, I had to replace the suspension once, buy the suspension off Facebook, then I had to replace it again after buying even more expensive suspension. That's why it's important to identify your goals so you're not wasting your money and you only have to buy something once and do it once rather than do all these different steps to end up at the same goal. If you just buy once and you cry once. A little bit of a cringy saying, and I hate seeing it, and I really hate that I even said it in this video, but I do think it's important because I've made this mistake many times in the past and I still struggle about learning the lesson. I bought a chair for my office for $100 from Walmart and I want a better one that's $600 and my ass hurts now and I regret doing it. So I still haven't learned this lesson, but maybe me telling you will help you learn the lesson before you make the same mistakes I do. 4th up on this list is going to be maintenance. Guys, if you're coming from an older generation Tacoma, or if you're rocking a 2016 3rd gen, or maybe if you got a high mileage 3rd gen, please do maintenance before modifying your truck. This, again, a lesson I learned a while ago when I was in the car scene. I would modify my vehicles. I would put $1,000 headlights in my car when I knew the turbo was probably on its last leg, or I knew that transmission was about to go. So again, learn from my mistakes. Let's do the maintenance first before getting all the cool mods. You will thank yourself later. Trust me, nothing sucks worse than trying to go out and buy a $1,000 suspension, putting off that $400 fluid change for your diffs and your oil. Then you go and hit the trail and you burn a diff out. Let's not do that. Go ahead and make sure you're changing your fluids every 30,000 miles. It'll cost you, if you do it yourself, probably about $300 to $400, depending on what fluids you do. Just keep up with the maintenance. There's no reason to trash your awesome truck by ignoring the maintenance and focusing on cool stuff. And number 5, and the most important thing on this list, is going to be for you to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. I'm just kidding. That's not the most important, but it does mean a lot to me. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers and we're almost there. And we might be able to get there if you hit that subscribe button. But on to number 5 here, and I think this one's pretty important, is don't compare yourself to others. I'm very guilty of this. I get on Instagram and I compare my truck to others. I'm like, oh, this guy has this suspension, that's better than mine, or this guy has this roof rack or this rooftop tent. I'm always comparing my stuff to other people rather than just enjoying the truck I built and the work I put into it. So if you're guilty of this, try to limit yourself on social media and comparing your stuff to other people, and build your truck for you. Don't build it for the likes on Instagram. Don't build it for the comments on YouTube. I'm guilty of this myself because I'm a content creator, but don't fall in the same trap I am in with comparing my stuff to other people. Just enjoy your truck, enjoy the process of building it, and have fun with it, because once the truck's done, you're gonna look back and be like, man, I had a good time building that, and I would kind of want to build another one. A bonus one for you guys is to do your research. And I mean research because I mentioned to buy once, cry once. That means to buy the most expensive thing and you're going to be happy. But that is not always the case, unfortunately. For example, my soft shell tent back there was $900 off Amazon. I would not pay any more than that, but there are tent manufacturers that charge a lot more for a soft shell tent. And you need to know that the Chinese manufacturer that's making these tents costs the same for every one of these brands to get their logo on these Chinese tents. Now, there's a handful of manufacturers that are making them in-house in the US, and they charge more for that fee. But a wide variety of these soft shell tents are all coming from the same place, and they're just changing out the logo. So I got the cheapest one I could find, which is a body armor, and I got it off Amazon with free shipping for $900. Those are the things that you can cheap out on. But other things like my braking components in my truck, my suspension components, things like that, I'm gonna spend the most money I can because I want it to be the best. Or my roof rack, for example, is about $500, and other ones are $1,000 to $1,300. I'm not buying a $1,300 roof rack. I don't see a point. A roof rack is a roof rack, and the only thing you gotta worry about is the mounting hardware and the paint on them. Other than that, they're all about the same. That $500 one, the paint's been holding up very well. It's been on there for a year and a half now, I think. So that's my point about research. Just figure out where you can cheap out on, because it doesn't really matter. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was helpful when you're modifying your Tacoma. Hopefully I didn't scare you away from modifying it. It's a good time. Just hop into it. And it's not that serious either way. You don't even have to listen to me. Also, if you're on the hunt for parts for your Tacoma, down in the description, I work with a brand called Guild Outfitters out of Ohio. Super cool guys. I have a discount down in my description. If you buy from there, you're supporting a US business and you're helping the channel. I get a little kickback from that and you get a little bit of a discount. So if you're looking for parts, go to Guild Outfitters. Use my code down in the description. It means a ton to me. Thank you for watching. Also, you can check out this video right here. It's very good. And I will see you guys in the next one. So here's a bonus one for you guys, and that's gonna be to do your research. And by research, I mean do research. Research, starting to talk like Kamala Harris.